What the actual fuck did I just watch? I will never be the same happy-going person again. I am a different man now because of this goddamn movie. Miller's Girl came out a couple weeks ago, and I just recently watched it. And I wish I did not make that decision. When I was watching the movie, I was writing down notes for this video, and basically all my notes had a tone of, what the fuck am I watching? Or what is wrong with everyone involved in this movie? Everyone involved with this movie needs psychiatric evaluation. Oh my God! I know there are a lot of people that love Jenna Ortega and will take her side no matter what, but come on. Come on. This movie's weird as shit. Minus all the sex scenes, this movie is just a high-budget corn movie. The movie starts off with Cairo Sweet, who was played by the love of my life. That might change now after seeing this movie, Jenna Ortega. And Mr. Miller, who is played by Martin Freeman, who was born in 1971. That will be important later in the movie. They meet in Mr. Miller's classroom, and right away there seems to be some chemistry between them. Then they are interrupted by Winnie Black, who is another student of Mr. Miller's. And it seems that she and Cairo already know each other because they touch noses? Don't even ask. I don't know if they are lesbians or they're just friends because they do a lot of flirting in this movie and they get really close to each other. This movie is very weird and confusing. Anyways, a couple scenes later, Winnie notices that Cairo and Mr. Miller seem to have a lot of chemistry together and tells Cairo that she should go for it. What I mean by that is try to have sex with him. And also Winnie said that she's going to try to get another teacher as well. Such a heartwarming movie to watch with the family. This is where the movie kicks off. The movie's only about an hour and 30 long, so it's very fast paced. Mr. Miller and Cairo keep having their moments, and Mr. Miller decides to give her a special assignment. He wants her to create a short story, and like any normal person would do, Cairo decides to make a corn short story. You know, the classic. Everyone has done it, basically. Making a very explicit and very graphic school project to turn into your teacher. Her story was about a teacher having sex with one of his students. I wonder where she got the inspiration to do that. It is very graphic. I'm not going to say what she wrote because I'm not trying to get age restricted. But if you watch the movie, you know. The movie then shows what her story is. They like act it out. Which means we get to see Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega do romantic things to each other, aka make out and have sex. I just got one question. In her story, why does the teacher not even try to stop himself from having a relationship with a student? He did that shit like it was nothing. There was no conflict, not one time where he was like, we can't do that, I'm your teacher. Even in corn scenes, they do that. If you show less restraint than a corn video, yeah, you kind of have a problem. I was dead wrong about what I thought this movie would be. I thought it would be too crazy to make a movie dead ass about a teacher being with a student. Even if it was just her story and not actually a part of the plot, to actually shoot these shots of them having sex is just crazy because their age gap is insane. I told you in the beginning, Martin Freeman was born in 1971. That makes him 52 years of age. Jenna Ortega is 21. Sure, she's legal, but there's a 31-year age gap between them. Obviously, they aren't actually having sex, but who even wants to see them act it out? My mouth dropped to the floor in disgust. It took me a second to realize that it was just her story and not what is actually happening. Then I was like, oh, okay. Then 2 seconds later, it dropped back down to the floor because I realized they still filmed that scene and it's a part of the movie. I was right about one thing in my video talking about the trailer. This is about to be a high-budget Brazzers script, except Johnny Sins didn't have his cameo, unfortunately. Oh, but don't worry, because it gets worse somehow. It actually gets worse, and this is a part of the actual plot. This is not a part of her story. Mr. Miller, when he is reading Cairo's story for the first time, this man does the absolute most down bad shit I've seen in my life. He starts to beat his shit to her story. This man really started to masturbate to words.
Alright, dude. What the flip?
I don't even know what to say about that at this point. Whoever came up with this idea for this movie needs jail time. And the person that approved it needs to go to prison for life because you encouraged a crazy person's idea. Let's just move on. Cairo and Mr. Miller talked to each other for the first time after she turned in the paper. And Mr. Miller at least was mad that of what she wrote. and says it's inappropriate. Hooray, the movie an hour in finally has its first moment of normal behavior. Cairo starts to get pissed because she thought there was actually something between them, and she starts to press him and get really close to him and just starts staring into this man's soul. All I'm going to say is, he's stronger than me, because I would have folded the first time she even walked in my class. During this fight, they keep having these awkward moments of them just looking straight at each other's eyes and saying nothing, with their faces like super close to each other. Mr. Miller says he's going to fail her for that, and she says she fucking dares him to, because she'll ruin his life for it. We don't find out if he actually does, but Cairo is set to ruin his life, so I'm guessing that he did fail her. An investigation starts to find out if Mr. Miller and Cairo did do something, and the principal starts to question both of them. Cairo kept saying that something did happen between them, and Mr. Miller on the other side is saying that nothing happened between them and they are just going back and forth. The principal pretty much already made up her mind that Mr. Miller did do something, and to end off the movie, we have another scene of what the fuckness. Winnie wants the other teacher, so Cairo comes up with this idea to record a video of them making out and send it to him. And that's exactly what they do. And that is exactly the moment that I turned this shit off. There wasn't much left of the movie, but
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the movie, don't. Because, don't. On top of the movie needing
psychiatric evaluation,
it was a complete snooze fest. It was super boring. And by the way, making me go what the fuck does not count as giving the movie some excitement. This movie is a clean, no question, a 0 out of 10 movie. I did not enjoy a second of this movie. Oh wait, no, never mind, that's a lie. I enjoyed myself quite a bit when I decided to turn it off. I know what the writers were going for. They wanted to make the weirdest and most uncomfortable movie possible, and they definitely achieved that. But at what cost? A shit movie. I'm sorry, if you like this movie, why? Just why? Jenna Ortega is not gonna let you hit, bro. But what do I know? I'm just a guy in his parents' attic.